Most business owners have been sending the same email template for years, not because it's working great, but maybe because redesigning it feels like a project that they just never start.
And we're going to show you an AI email builder that removes all of that friction. You don't need to be a skilled designer. You don't need to understand spacing and colors or layouts or all of these complex rules. You describe what you want and it builds it. Today, I'm going to do that live, start to finish, a couple times over, actually, and it's not going to take too much time at all. We'll take a real email, walk through the prompts, and rebuild it from scratch 2 ways. You'll see every decision on screen.
Yeah, no design or development background required. This is the Shift AI show presented by AWeber. All right, Chris. Let's jump in. So, before we jump into email, this is not what we had planned on talking about today, right?
Yes.
At least I know when I woke up this morning, I thought we were talking about something else.
Yeah, we were going to talk about Anthropic's newest model, which is called Fable 5, that they had released last week. And we'd been doing a bunch of testing, and it seemed really promising. It could solve, in our tests, was solving problems, finding bugs that older models didn't find, working faster. It used twice as many tokens to do it, so it's expensive, but it was really effective. But I think it was on Friday.
Friday at like 5:15 p.m. Eastern time or something.
Yeah, the U.S. government essentially told Anthropic that they had to restrict the use of Fable 5 to foreign nationals, so non-American citizens,
including foreign nationals in the U.S.
Yes, yeah, which was unworkable for Claude Anthropic to figure that out. So what they ended up doing was just removing access to Fable for everyone, and that's where we stand right now. And they did it because they said that they were alerted of a way to jailbreak Fable 5 in a way that was really destructive. And jailbreaking, if you don't know what that means, is a way of getting around the safeguards and the guardrails in place on the model. So you could ask it to do things or give you information that it wasn't supposed to give you. Now, Anthropic says that there are some small vulnerabilities that allow you to get around some of Fable's guardrails, but that those same exact vulnerabilities exist in other frontier models like OpenAI GPT 5.5. So right now they're in this weird position now where the U.S. government's position is that essentially like Fable isn't safe enough to be out there for use by non-U.S. citizens, and Anthropic's position is, well, if you believe that, then the other frontier models like 5 shouldn't be out there either. Yeah,
right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, they said they're all known vulnerabilities. This is nothing new, but it's being poked at, and they said, frankly, they've been considered minimal risk vulnerabilities in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, the model companies want to downplay the risk, although Anthropic has historically been pretty good about at least presenting a responsible take on AI. Like they didn't release their Mythos model, which is their most powerful one, because they said it was too dangerous in its ability to expose security holes. It was apparently incredibly
and that was a decision they made themselves, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Pressure.
Who knows what's going to happen? But what this really says is it says to me is, if the government's position is that a model as powerful as Fable, with the vulnerabilities Fable has, is not releasable, then that means that the next model from whoever that claims to be more powerful than Fable, if it can be jailbroken in the same way, is also not releasable unless this is something. Yeah.
Well, and suffice to say, if and when it is available, and I assume that there is an if, I mean a when rather than an if, we will cover it and we'll talk about it and showcase some of the incredibly useful, powerful, ethical things that you can do with it versus maybe some of the non-ethical things that are causing some issues. And I'm excited to bring you that because you had some pretty cool stuff prepared. I know we've experienced some pretty cool improvements as a result, including some other organizations. Like I think Stripe said they were able to do like months worth of development work in hours versus months or whatever using it. So we'll wait to see there. But the promise of this show is always to take all of the noise happening in AI and turn it into something that's immediately useful. And if you're like me and you tried to search something in Fable 5 this morning and a little notification popped up that just said Fable 5 is not available, that is not immediately useful. So we're going to move on to something that is. And that's, we've showcased on here a little bit in the past the AI sign-up form builder that you and the team at AWeber released several weeks ago. That really just fundamentally changes the way that you can design and develop and publish sign-up forms for your email lists. We're going to move a step forward today and show a similar tool, right? Or like a familial tool for email design.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually the same tool, but
cool.
You can also build email with it. And like we showed on Friday, very soon you'll be able to build landing pages. Dave, I cannot wait to get that into your hands and everybody else watching this.
Yeah.
But so you're watching the shift. This is an example of an email that I sent on the 11th about Fable, and it includes some of my experiments with it. Some really interesting things that I was finding in personal projects that it could do that other models couldn't do as well, and a really neat experiment where an engineer from Anthropic used Fable to actually create the launch video for Fable.
Yeah.
It was this meta thing that is really, really cool. I'm actually going to drop a link to that into the chat because it's a very cool simply explained tutorial that is worth giving a read.
Yeah.
So this is an example of that email, and I took this into our builder, which is in beta right now. If you want access to it, just mention in the chat, and I'll get you access to it. What I asked, and I unfortunately asked this and then blew away the chat, but all I said was recreate the email from this archive page, because what you were looking at it was the email on a web archive page. So I grabbed the link from this page, put it into the build, said recreate it, and it did. From that single prompt, this is what I got, that same basic email.
That's great.
Really cool. And while that's one of the things that I'm going to do, I'm going to work on this in two ways. And I want it to get set up with that base. So that's like the email as it exists now, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I want to do is I'm going to go to Claude and ask for it to give me a prompt to use in the builder for an entirely new email. So I'm going to kick this off. I really should have kicked this off before we started. But it's a prompt to use in my AI newsletter builder to promote our newsletter for the shift. And I included a link to the shift. I want to give it as much information as possible. I want to focus on readability. Generally, I'll include one story and then one interesting tool or guide I want someone to try out. I want to include an AWeber personalization variable for the day of the send somewhere. So I'm counting on it going out and finding that. Then I link to the logo and give it just like a little information. It doesn't need to include the can spam footer. That's the footer with your address and unsubscribe link, because AWeber does that for me. So this is going to go through and give me a prompt. I am just going to wait for this to be done because I want to kick off the next email generation.
With the first example that you showed there too, and you used an existing email in your newsletter archive.
Yes.
And I believe you did this as I'm asking it, but you could also give it like the show's webpage or landing page and ask it to create an email that's like on brand with that, right?
Yes. Yeah, so that's what I did create the first version
brand continuity. That's what I thought. I thought you had. But it's instant brand continuity. You're not sitting there like changing colors, adding logos, like it just scrapes the website, understands its design patterns, and recreates it, right?
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like, the reason I wanted to show this though is because
Mm,
if you've already been sending an email, like a newsletter, and you want to
yeah,
keep using that template, you can do that just by giving it a link to the
and you
template.
recreate that new starting point. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
and if you're using a different tool, to send your email and you wanna move over to AWeber, you can just grab a hosted version of a previous newsletter you sent, drop it in the builder, and it'll rebuild for you. It's really,
yeah.
really cool.
Think about like the loss of friction in moving over. Uh,
Yes.
that's incredible.
Okay, so I got my prompt from, Claude. I'm not gonna read through all of this, but it pulled out, like, a voice and style, it pulled out a structural definition, all of this cool stuff. Um And I just went ahead and copy pasted that into the builder. Oh, and it tells me that the prompt had some placeholders missing. So I'm going to say just uh, make something up for now.
I think this is a cool, like worth calling out. We've done this before on the show where it's like you could have given it, like essentially, you could have given it a really simple prompt, and then you're probably going to have like a few more rounds of iteration to really refine the elements that you want, and things like that. But instead, you prompted Claude, or you could use ChatGPT or whatever to write a more expansive, thorough prompt
Yeah.
based on your short description. So you're still not having to do a lot of effort. You're giving it a pretty like straightforward example, but it's giving very explicit instructions for you to then hand to the designer.
Yeah. And like the thing about this is I'm trying to get as much of the easy early
Yeah.
work out of the way so I can spend time on the portion of it that requires taste.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it got me a base email. That looks pretty good. But you know what? Let's spend some time going back and forth on this one really quick. Now, the big thing here is it didn't get me the styles that I really want.
Mm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the shift itself. And I've mentioned this before as well. I'm going to take a screenshot of this page. And so I just took a screenshot. And now I'm going to drop that into the chat because the chat has the ability to like see and parse images as well. So I'm going to say this is a good structure, but let me drop my image into here. So now I have an image in the chat. And I'm going to say this is pretty good. A good structure, but it doesn't match the visual brand of my website. Screenshot attached. Update the visuals. So this is, I think, a really good example of the type of back and forth that we've talked about in the past when interacting with these tools. It's like I'm interacting with a junior designer,
Mhm.
someone who has the skills to implement, but needs the benefit of my taste and expertise to guide them as to like what specifically to do. Because this did a really good job of giving me like a really beautiful,
Mhm.
simple email template. The deal is it just missed the branding. So I
Mhm.
give it an image and say like, okay, update the branding. And my expectation fully is that it's going to be able to do that. While we're waiting for this one, let's jump back. Oh, never mind.
Boom.
This looks so much better. That's
Yeah.
done. It's done. That's
Yeah.
like the template. Um,
And it's worth like
yeah.
the point you were making there too is like the goal in providing that more extensive prompt was to get as close to like one-shotting this as possible, like trying to get a usable result on the first try, and not having all these tiny little iterative changes. But it's so important to recognize that, like, even when it's not, it's just like going back and forth with a freelancer, or an assistant. You're going to give them feedback on what they produced for them to then deliver a revision. And the process is no different. We got a question from Jessica. She said, "Where's this feature located?"
So this is a beta feature right now, and which means that only certain people in AWeber have access to it. Now
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you a link in case you want to try this out for yourself. And I really would ask that you do and give me feedback as to what works and what doesn't work. So
Yeah.
maybe you can.
There's a request button right at the top of the builder there, right?
Yes.
Or bug reports and feature requests, I believe, right?
Yes. But if you use that just to give feedback, you can put whatever feedback you want in there. But
Yeah, that's what
this is the link. And then what you're going to do inside of AWeber is you're going to create an HTML message. So say I visited that link. I'm on my messages page. Then I'm going to go up to the create a message button over here, hit the little drop down and select custom HTML message. That's where this lives right now. So whenever once you visited that link, whenever you go to create a custom HTML message, it'll put you into this new builder, which is super powerful and fun to use.
Yeah, and you can try it out fully functionally right now. It'll be more clearly available and visible once it's fully released, which we expect to be very soon. But in the meantime, you're trying essentially the latest version of it with that link.
And while we were talking, I just asked it to generate a hero image to go along with the story that illustrates the point and matches my style. And it did a really good job, honestly. Like this color here and the color of the whole thing in general matches the style of the email. It's really wonderful.
It matches the narrative. You're literally talking about how the media narrative has gone from replacing jobs to replacing tasks, and it's handing you a completed task list.
Yeah. So let's try something now. Like I have this email here, and let's say I wanted to make another version from this email. Let's say I had copied a previous one, and now I want to make a new one. I want to say like update the main story and hero image to be about Fable 5.
I was just going to say Fable
being
5.
pulled back. Yeah. And make the promo unit. Sorry, let me grab this. Promote our mega marketing pack of prompts at bang. Those prompts include prompts for email generation, SEO, website tweaks, and then I'll just kick this off and let's see what it does. Now, my expectation is it'll replace the whole email for me with updated information, but keep the same look and feel. I'm going to leave this to do its thing, but you can see it's doing something really cool. It is, it went out and it searched the internet for information about what I was talking about, and now it's piecing together the actual email. But let's just jump back to this other one because it's much more heavily designed. And here, I wanted to show you like how you can do both dramatic changes as well as small ones. So in that last one, we showed you a really dramatic change of changing it from that basic light themed email to what you see now. And when you're editing in this builder, you can still edit directly. So you can click this edit mode button or click up here into modify and edit. And then you can go in here and you can like change text. So I could add an exclamation point there or something. But, and that's great. Like if you're writing, like if you have a bunch of stuff, or if you want to copy and paste content in from a document editor, you can do that. But
or you could like delete an image, right?
Yeah.
Like things like that are just like there are certain tasks that are annoying to prompt conversationally. You don't lose that ability, right?
But like, let's say there is some stuff that I did want to update, like en masse. Let's say I want to get rid of the table of content and any unnecessary design elements like these chapter marker things. Remove the table of contents and unnecessary. Did I spell that right on the first try? That word always gets me. Capital elements like the 1 and 2 story markers. So my hope and expectation is that it's going to keep the layout of the page, keep the content, but just remove those things that the specific things I don't want anymore. So let's see, it's doing its thinking. That's one of the things I love, is just following along with what it's doing. I feel like you learn a lot about how to interact with these models and with AI tools by looking at the way they think about things.
Yeah, you learn the way it works.
Nice. So it did remove the table of contents. It removed the number notations. Did it remove anything else? We're working on adding version history in here, so it's much easier for you to see in line. You can see here that for emails specifically, we do have version history, so you can see the major changes. So I could compare this back to previously. This had the table of contents. It had this 1 and 2 marker here. I think that might be, I think those were the only changes it made, and that's fine. That's what I told it to do.
Yeah.
Anything you would want to change to kind of push this, Jesse? Or do you want to go back to the other one?
I would love to see like an accent color call out box to, like, if I'm like promoting a specific upcoming thing or event or something like that. Like maybe ask it to promote an upcoming episode or the playlist in like a
Oh yeah,
call out box.
the shift playlist in a call out box using the accent color as background.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah.
And let me go find a link to that playlist. I want to give it the context. So I'll just paste in a link to the playlist. We'll let that, I think it might take a minute or two. While we're doing that, I'm going to jump back over to the other one. And while in the background, I checked in on it and it told me that it had done what I asked it to do, but it had only updated the email preheader. It's a good opportunity to kind of reinforce something that we say all the time. If the model doesn't, or the tool doesn't do exactly what you wanted the first time, that doesn't mean it's time to give up. It means that you have to give it more explicit direction. So what I told it was to just update the whole email to reflect this change, and it did. So here's the story about Fable being pulled back. An interesting image was generated. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then here's the call out for the mega marketing prompt. I mean, that's like, it's funny. Like, I don't have a whole lot more to say about that because it did exactly what I wanted it to do, just like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Dave asked a little bit ago too. He said, I assume landing pages will work this way soon as well.
Yes. Yeah. And the landing page version of this is even more powerful because emails, as I'm sure you know, if you've been sending email, they have all sorts of restrictions because the inbox won't do things like render JavaScript. So you can't do interactivity in an email in the same way that you can on the web. So in I think I showed in Friday's demo that I had built a landing page that functioned like an old operating system where you had a musical sequencer on it and a snake game and all this stuff. You're going to be able to build that for yourselves using the landing page builder shortly. But okay, so this one is a go, and I think, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's usable. And I think big picture too on the landing page point, like the idea is that you create complete campaigns conversationally with this builder, where you're creating your sign up page or your splash page, your landing page, the email delivery, the sign up forms for those. It's just, it becomes like one ecosystem that you're conversationally interacting with, not disparate pieces, right?
Exactly.
So Dave, yes, you're spot on.
Okay, cool. So I asked it to promote the shift playlist in a call out box. Let's see. Oh, there it is. That looks pretty mean. That's awesome for one sentence's worth of work. Probably a grammatically incorrect one at that.
Well, it's funny too, because when we think about this, like sometimes, okay, so you told it to update the story topic, right? And it kind of just did the pre-header, and you had to be more explicit to be like, do the entire thing. On the flip side, I think it's really fun when sometimes you're pretty light on instruction. You told it what background color to use, but you didn't say, like create visual hierarchy in the text or things like that. And it still produced good design. Like it made certain assumptions about good design. It didn't just create a call out box with like poorly formatted text on the color that you told it to. So sometimes it actually takes liberties that I think are really incredible. Sometimes, yes, you have to be more explicit and tell it to do more. As with all AI tools. But that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I mentioned to Jesse that I thought today's demo was going to be shorter. We're trying to keep them shorter and more concise, giving you like usable, useful things that you can try. This is something that you can do right now. And I'll say for myself in the emails that I've been creating, it has saved me so much time. Like once I got down my email that I wanted to use, my basic template that I had designed, it's so much faster now because I can just like paste in content that I want to replace the story that I had there previously, and it just works. It's like I'm talking to a member of my team saying like, hey, I need you to write this. I need you to put this email together for me. Like I'm doing that. And now I just get the email without having to worry about it. It's very, very cool.
And I can answer this too, but I want to hear your thoughts first. Like we kind of framed this initially around like, so many of us have been sending emails with the same old template for so long. And I think one of the barriers to that is it was time consuming to change that, to do that differently. If you're like me, maybe 6, 7, 8 times you've gone in to start that, and then it becomes laborious where you're like, maybe later I'll come back to this, and you abandon it. You never actually finish it. But so we've removed like that friction and the time investment, but why do it? Why does it matter? Like, why does it matter what your emails look like?
Well, you know what? That's actually a good question because in many cases, like it really doesn't. I'm just going to be like frank. Like if you're sending emails that are supposed to look like they're coming from you from your personal email, that then you don't need to do something like this, honestly. Although it does help with the time to actually write the content. This is for if you really care about creating a brand that, and I hate to even use that word because I think it's been so like diluted, but let me actually change the phrasing of this. The internet is really crowded and noisy. And with the advent of AI tools, it makes it easier for people to create stuff. And most people are just creating and putting out whatever it is the AI gives them. Like, and that's what a lot of people refer to as slop. What this allows you to do is even if you don't have the technical skills to implement some of these things that you've always wanted to, is to build and maintain a brand that actually feels like something unique. On Friday, we talked about how to take AI designs and turn them into something that has some of your real human personality. The same opportunity exists here. And the reason why you would even build a stylized template to begin with is because you want your thing that someone reads from you to look different from everyone else's, to look uniquely you, and to feel and read uniquely you. And I think that for many of us, that is a real opportunity and there's real value in it. It's going to take a combination of using an AI tool, but with your human brain and creativity, like following up and asking for some of these things, asking for tweaks, and not just accepting what it gives you out of the box. Like that is what will differentiate you from brand slop and personal human brand.
It's interesting because it's like, the AI in general has like so dramatically shifted the barrier to entry to do a lot of these things. I don't think it's necessarily changed like who will win, right? Like I think it's still the people that are curious and willing to push further and bring their own, you said it, taste and ideas to it. We talked last episode, we were talking about using tools like Lovable and Claude Design and how to get results that weren't the beigification of the internet, that weren't just I'm still trying to get that out there, that weren't just their standard styles, like the clear, lovable design patterns. And I think that's still the difference here. Now, why designing your email matters to me, it's also like that consistency matters. And frankly, like if you are someone who sends more visual emails, but that visual style feels dated, that's a perception of your brand, and it's a perception of the quality of your work, your product, your service, your offering, whatever. So I do think it's it's a low lift opportunity to make sure that your services or you are being reflected well to your recipients, and then to be able to make that consistent across all of those touch points so that they recognize you over and over again, and you're re-imprinting people over and over again, which is still like that. The psychology of that has not changed. People still
Yeah.
need to see it time and time again, and not feel like it's disparate pieces. But I think it's just amazing how fast and easy and simply you can do that with no like educational barrier.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like, we've been talking way more than the time it took for the thing to actually build
The actual demo.
It's so cool.
And I promise we're not trying to fill airtime. I just could talk about this forever.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I love it. And Dave's already in there trying it out. I hope others watching have clicked that link and are jumping in and trying it out. And we said it on last episode, like, please share what you make with us. Like, we want to see that stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely share feedback too, because that just helps make everything better. Anything else you want to cover at the email builder, Chris?
No, this is great.
I mean, I think it's you said it. It speaks to its power in how simple the demo can be. You know, I gave it 2 or 3 prompts, and boom, we're ready to send.
Yeah.
Or maybe fewer prompts in some cases. Awesome. Well, like we said, things are changing so fast in this world of AI. Sometimes just even the things that we want to talk about and the things that are immediately useful and applicable to you. This is one where the sign up form builder version of this is available in AWeber to all users. The email builder, the email function of the builder will be very soon. We expect. And then Dave called it out. Soon you'll be able to do landing pages and web pages in the same tool, in the same kind of interaction. So definitely check that out, aweber.com/forms for the form builder right now, or just aweber.com in general to sign up and try it out.
Yeah. It's so much fun. So cool.
It's a really, Dave said he's going to spend 8 more hours playing with it. Like, I don't doubt it. It's really easy to get lost in there. Just like those, I mean, it's the same pattern as the lovables and the replets and things like that. And it's fun to realize what you can create with it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. As always, we'll be back on Friday at noon Eastern time with a brand new topic. Added benefit for all of you out there. Alicia will be stepping in for me and co-hosting with Chris, and she's incredible and awesome. If you've attended any of our other AWeber virtual events, you've seen and spoken with her. So personally, I'm looking forward to that because I think y'all are going to have a great show. Definitely check out aweber.com/shift, and you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can send us your questions that way as well. Chris, I know you are not at home. So are you gonna step away from the screen and do anything fun?
You know, I actually. You know what? Tonight I'm at the shore, the Jersey Shore, and tonight I'm going to a pickleball meetup with a bunch of my friends from the shore, and it's going to be nice. Just time to be outside with people that I've met. And the most fun thing about it is it's everything from people who are half my age to people who are twice my age. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, enjoy it. Thanks y'all for being so much for being here, and we'll see you on Friday.
Drew is really good at making other people look really good.
Stunning.
And with the help of AWeber's marketing platform, he's built an entire audience on his ability to turn heads. So even though Drew's just a team of one, it never really feels that way.
That's a wrap, folks. Come on out.
Drew uses AWeber. It's how teams of one get more done.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Have sweet. You're the best, Tim.
With AWeber, it's like he has a whole staff helping him grow his audience and build professional-looking content.
And send. You got it. Great job, team.
From automated email campaigns.
Oh, of course, sign up. You get it from here?
To insight-packed reports.
How are we looking on new subscribers? Is that the day we launch the new course? Nice.
AWeber gives Drew the freedom to go forth
Hey.
and be Drew. AWeber. Time